So Porter's 5 forces. Whenever we talk about competition, we talk about Porter's 5 forces. And it tells you about where the positioning and the operating effectiveness of a company is within its industry. So if we start at the top, left-hand side, the bargaining power of customers and the determinants of buying power. What is the buyer concentration? Your buyer volume. Is it difficult for a buyer of your product, for your customer, to switch products, that they're not dependent on your product? And how easy is it for them to replace your product with substitutes? Then threat of new entrants. What is your barrier to entry? Is it economies of scale? Have you got a niche proprietary product that no one can duplicate? Do you have brand identity? What is the switching costs involved as well from moving your product, from your product to a new entrant, if they might give discounts? And then cost advantages. Do you have any cost advantages that could remain there, that could create a barrier to entry? Threat of substitute products. Substitution threats come in if your is your product easily replicatable, or can they take something out that can still do the same, add the same value or do the same thing that could make your product redundant? All these, so bargaining power of suppliers, is the last one. So also differentiation of inputs. Switching costs of suppliers. Is it difficult for you to switch to a different supplier that might give a better or a cheaper product? Again, the presence of substitutes. Do you have any opportunities available where you can substitute products to make it more cost effective or to increase the quality of your product? Supplier concentration. Are you a price maker or a price taker? And the importance of volume. If it's a manufacturing business, and your inputs, you have a lot of inputs, is it important that you are volume-based, that you can get price rebates? Impact of differentiation. What makes your product different? Again, the suppliers product different. And the threat of forward integration. What is keeping that supplier from actually producing the same goods with the inputs that you are buying from him? So all these factors are important to know where a company is placed within an industry to see what their competitive advantage is and if it's a sustainable competitive advantage. So out of the Porter's 5 forces, we can then also look at specific quantitative factors of a specific company. We're looking at profitability, which we will find in the income statement. When we look at revenue, is the company growing at more than the current inflation rate? So is it actually expanding its business? And then net profit is key. Gross profit and operating margins are important because that is how you run your business. But profit is the key to understanding a business and if it's making money. So when we move to the balance sheet, looking at solvency, does the company have the ability to pay its debts, all its long-term financial obligations? Does it have long-term financial obligations? And in terms of growth, how is it going to fund that? Liquidity is also important, because how do they pay their day-to-day operations and fund the growth? Is the company cash generative? And then it comes down to the free cash flow. What cash can the company generate after they've laid out all the funds to maintain or expand its asset base? So once we looked at the qualitative and the quantitative aspects in terms of the industry and the company, we can build a SWOT analysis. The SWOT analysis looks at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats of a company. Now, the strengths is always helpful. A strength and opportunity is helpful to achieve the objective, whether it is growth or it is expansion. And your strength is an internal origin. It's attributes of the company. Does it have a niche product? Is it a long-standing business? The weaknesses are what is harmful in achieving your objective. Does it have high debt? Is it in a market that is very competitive? And then we're looking at opportunities, which is external, which is part of the environment. If the infrastructure boom is coming, what opportunities does that present to the company to grow? Can they move cross-border? Any influence that the environment might have to help them achieve growth. And then threats as well. What threats do you have? And we're looking at, again, at regulation, at sustainability of a company, sustainability of an industry.